right, how is everybody this morning? Has everybody had their caffeine? Okay. So we're going to talk about some really exciting stuff. We're going to talk about politics this morning. I had written this at the request of Dr. Owens originally in response to a prompt asking basically what the prospects were for the Democratic Party as a whole in America following the election of Donald Trump and the results of the 2016 election. And sadly, the news is not good, as you will hear from my paper. So allow me to begin. This is called Dark Days Ahead for Democrats. It is now common knowledge that the Democrats lost at the top of the ballot in November. Hillary Clinton has since conceded defeat and can now be found, much like the American marten and the red fox, wandering the forests of upstate New York. Though one presidential election loss may not spell the end of the Democratic Party, I have found several recent articles highlighting grave issues that may prove to be insurmountable for Democrats in the years to come. As Alex Wagner of The Atlantic writes, the Democrats simply do not have the numbers to stave off a massive wave of Republican redistricting set to take place in just 4 years. Party efforts to make a grassroots comeback in the crucial states of Michigan, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Florida, Ohio, and Wisconsin were largely unsuccessful, with Democrats winning only 8 of the 32 seats that were targeted by the party's campaign committee. Not even an unheard of 150 down-ballot endorsements on the part of Barack Obama was enough to make a meaningful impact. Wagner asserts that these various failures will almost certainly spell trouble for Democrats attempting to gain a place in the House of Representatives. After all, it is the legislative bodies of the states who will redraw the lines of the congressional districts after the 2020 census. The campaign consultants Wagner interviewed for his article seemed ready for a grassroots slugfest between now and 2020. However, another journalist seems to think that the Democratic Party is blindly gamboling down a path of total irrelevance. The Hartford Courant's Mark Thiessen, like Wagner, highlights the numerous defeats the Democrats have faced at every level of elected office. Under 8 years of Obama, Thiessen writes, the Democrats have lost 939 legislative seats, 30 legislative chambers, and a dozen governorships. Meanwhile, professors in Ivy League colleges postpone their exams for liberal students who are unable to concentrate while facing the prospect of a Trump presidency. In other areas of the United States, New York aristocrats attending a Broadway showing of Hamilton at a cost of $849 a ticket, Thiessen adds, sling insults and jeers at Vice President Mike Pence. Ultimately, these are all examples of Thiessen's main point. America's elite Democrats have no idea what is going on in Middle America. Tim Ryan's failed bid to replace the aging Nancy Pelosi as House Minority Leader is central to Thiessen's article. In a letter to his colleagues, Ryan warned that the Democrats have been reduced to their slimmest numbers in Congress since 1929. We have the fewest Democrats in state and federal offices since Reconstruction, he wrote. Tim Ryan represents a district that includes Youngstown and Akron, parts of Ohio heavily afflicted by the collapse of America's manufacturing industry. By granting Pelosi another chance to steer the party's ship, Thiessen asserts, the Democrats are proving themselves to be the agents of coastal social progressives instead of the struggling middle class of Ryan's district. Ryan is keenly aware of this, that this strategy of ignoring the Rust Belt areas Trump carried is wholly unsustainable. It seems, however, that at least for the Democratic leadership, ignorance is bliss. This spat between the 43-year-old Ryan and the 76-year-old Pelosi does a fine job of illustrating the Democratic Party's failure to connect with Middle America. It is also indicative of still another ill omen for Democrats. Their leadership is quite decrepit compared to their Republican counterparts. That is the focus of U.S. News author Mary Carey in her article, The Problems with the Left. It seems as though 8 years of losing scores of state legislative chambers and governors' mansions has left the Democrats with few rising stars to champion a resurgence. Indeed, the numbers tell no tall tale. The average age of the senior Democratic leadership in Congress is 72, compared to the Republicans' 49. Carey posits that the Democrats have lost their state-level farm team. Young people in America are increasingly skeptical of establishment politicians. Trump surprised many analysts and picked up 4 out of every 10 millennial votes this election. The Democrats desperately need a swell of new faces in their ranks, in order to attract these same young voters. Until the party finds a way to foster new talent at the state level, the number of millennials voting for Trump in 2020 is only going to increase. The days ahead are dark for Democrats. The party's National Campaign Committee has proven itself to be incapable of winning in areas outside of its coastal bases, arranging a situation Republicans are certain to benefit from through redistricting. In addition to this, its leadership appears to be clueless as to why the party keeps losing. Meanwhile, the leaders themselves grow older and more out of touch with young voters with each passing year. Unless drastic changes are made to the Democratic Party's structure, strategy, and leadership, we may very well see the United States dominated by Republicans for many years to come. Does anybody have any questions regarding my paper or anything at all? All right, thank you.
Thank you.